Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Monday night live stream. And I want to point out tonight I'm trying something completely different. I say completely different. It's the same thing for a lot of this. But tonight I am broadcasting this live stream on both of my channels at the same time. Now, I don't know what kind of people will come from the other channel. I don't know what kind of people will be here from the primary channel. It doesn't matter. I'm just trying to spread it out and get it out further into the world, I guess. There are probably people, I'm sure, that follow just my Joe Daddy's Workshop channel. I know that. And there are some that follow both channels. I know that as well. So anyway, this will be a new experience, and we're going to see how this works out. Let me go down the list here. We already have 27. Well, over here, 27. Boom, 25. Somewhere in that range. People showing up. We have Brian Francis checking in. Rick Stevenson. Clark Clifford is present. Good to know. Crash Rider is in from Southern Indiana. Brian Francis from Ohio. Jay Umden, or Umden, one of the two, Northwest Arkansas. Clark Clifford, very still in makeup. You haven't missed anything. Okay. Am so. I hate when two of my favorite shows have conflicting time slots. I just couldn't decide which one to watch. So I played rock, paper, scissors with myself, but all that did was start an argument. I understand that. Am so says hi all. Dave Conville checking in. Jerry Towler. Hi, Jerry. Glad you're here tonight. Jeff Reynolds, you're up late. I know that. Glad you're here. Sammy Alicia Smith, glad you're here. Blue Oval Fan Country. Shane from North California. Dave Moore checking in. Truck 1 LT. Harvey from Rally Cat Garage is here. Awesome. Nandu, I guess. I'm assuming Nandu is here. Brian W. And we even have Andrew from Grease Rookie Garage. So that's pretty good. Oh, look, we have Rusty's Mustang Garage. So yeah, lots of people here. And you know, it's been it's been a weekend. You know I've talked about it. Joe Pendola checking in from Massachusetts. Glad you're here, Joe. I know I talked about it, last week. Cooter Lev checking in. Glad you're here. I talked about it last week, some issues that my neighbors had, and the situation we ran into with his son and all that stuff. And so they had a service for him this past Saturday. And so I traveled up to Kentucky to be, participate in that service. So kind of a long, it's not a happy weekend, but definitely something that needed to happen for all of us, family, friends, those that are involved with the situation. So, still a sad situation, sad things have happened, but I'm going to drive on and keep moving forward. So let's see, Jerry Towler, the weather stripping. Oh, okay. You're talking about your trunk weather stripping is from Daniel Carpenter. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. Nobody in 1966 is here. 777 Smitty. Hello, glad you're here. And we have Joe Peltola from Washington State. So we have Joe Pendola up here and Joe Peltola. That's good. Dave Conville, love the Corvette Museum piece. Did you get to tour the factory across the street, or is it still virus closed? Dave, I don't know. I did not even think about going to the factory. I didn't see many cars in the parking lot over there. So I didn't even think about it. I just took care and did the museum run, did the live stream there, and that was about it. I didn't have a whole lot of time to do different things. Schedule was limited. So I was happy that I was able to check in at the Corvette Museum. I've never been there before, and it was pretty cool to see. Pretty cool to see. Jack W. checking in. Glad you're here. Jerry got the windshield in his 66 Mustang installed and caulked. That's awesome. All right. So anyway, I'll just tell you that I drove up to Kentucky on Friday spent the weekend there. Actually, I have family that lives up there as well, so I was able to spend some time with my relatives, and did the thing, did the service and all. And so on the way up there, I realized that driving up through Tennessee from Georgia, I remembered Jerry is in Tennessee. So I sent him an email and I said, "Whereabouts are you in Tennessee?" And so we emailed back and forth a couple of times, and I, figured out where he was. And I decided, I'm already out of, the weekend is what it is, and I'm out of state. So I'm going to take a little time and go see Jerry. So that's what I did. Well, was it yesterday? I don't even know. Today's Monday, so it had to be yesterday. So I went on the way home. I stopped at the Corvette Museum, did a little live stream from there, took some pictures and stuff, and then traveled on to Jerry's house and Jerry's shop. And I spent a little time with Jerry and looking at his project and shot some footage that I'll probably try to make into a video, but I shot it all on my iPhone because I didn't think to take one of my better cameras with me, or one of my cameras that I'm used to. So I looked at it a little bit. It's a little bit shaky, but I'll try to get something put together and get that up at some point. So it was great seeing Jerry, spending some time talking with him. Nice guy, and enjoyed the conversation and checking out his shop and everything he was doing. That was really cool. Let's see. Brian liked the Vet Tour, Barry. Mrs. liked it more than I, just because she likes vets. Well, I'll give her a bell. I mean, you gotta like Corvettes. Maybe. I don't know. I'm a car person, car guy. It's not just Mustangs. It's not just Camaro or, I've talked about it before. I grew up in a junkyard. So I was around all kinds of different makes of cars, models of cars. I just appreciate cars. So, nothing wrong with Corvettes. It's a car. Pretty cool car, I must say. But Andrew, does the Corvette Museum have anything highlighting the sinkhole incident from a few years back? It does. And I talk about that a little bit on the video that I shot. I don't know if I was, because I asked them, I said, "Can I film in here?" And they were like, "Yeah, sure." I didn't say, "Can I do a YouTube live stream?" I just said, "Can I film in here?" I said, "Sure." So as I was filming, I was trying to be, respectful for other people, keep them out of the shots, try to show what was going on with the different cars. And as I was doing that, I walked into the big TP building or whatever it is, where the collapse was. And they had repaired all that, of course, and then they had like an outline of where it had all collapsed. So there were two jagged outlines taped to their painted on the floor. One was where the sinkhole, I think, had caved in, and then another line was something else where the repair, I don't know, but it was two different lines, and I tried to highlight that in the video that I talked about. This is one line and this is the other. And then also offset from the center, there was a big pipe, like a 36-inch pipe with aluminum door on top of it with two windows that you could look down inside and see the bottom of what was the pit or the sinkhole. And it went down like 30 feet, and they had it lit up at the bottom. So that was kind of cool too, to see just how deep the thing was. Anyway, and the cars that were destroyed, man, they were really, really mangled. You think, well, it just fell into a sinkhole. No, these things, it's like they're just crushed. And one of them, I had video shot of the seat, the two bolsters on the seat were touching where it had crushed together. It was really a mess. Really a mess. Nobody a fan of any car fast enough to do something super in. Well, a fan of really just about any car. It doesn't have to be fast. I drove plenty of really slow poke cars. I drive one now, my little Ford Focus, and it's not fast, but it's, it does what it's supposed to do, gets me around, and hopefully keeps me from getting in trouble. I know when I drove my Suburban this past weekend, and I realized, hey, this Suburban can go really, really fast. I mean, I say really, really fast compared to the Focus. When I'm in the Focus and I hit 65 or 70 miles an hour, it's like everything is shaking and rattling. But I get in the Suburban and it's just like, I look down and go, oh, I'm doing 85. Oh, of course, on the interstates right now, the way people are driving, if you're not doing 80, or 85, some places it feels like you have to do 90 just to keep up with the flow, So, and there were still people out there acting fools and probably driving well in excess of 100 miles an hour, weaving in and out of traffic and just cutting people off. It was like, man, one guy almost took out a motorcycle, and I was not real happy about that, but nothing I could do. I was trapped in traffic. But Sammy Lisa Smith, Georgia's going to get some rain tonight. The power went off last night. This calls for a good night of sleep. Well, I hope so. I'm hoping that I'm kind of hoping it doesn't rain. I don't need rain right now. I have a goal tomorrow that I have to take care of, which would be better if it didn't rain. So I'm hoping it doesn't rain. Michael Law, Climb to Glory, right of the line, man, right of the line. Give me a belt for that. Cooter, you have shown you can get in trouble driving a go-kart. Amen to that. That is very, very true. I can definitely get in trouble just driving a go-kart. Boondocker checking in. Glad you're here. Jeff Reynolds, Barry, going with the flow is no excuse. Well, that's true. That is true. However, if you don't go with the flow, you're probably going to get people trying to run you off the road. It's pretty rough here in the States. Yeah, just different people can attest to that here. You got to keep moving, or you're going to get cut off, or somebody's going to get on your bumper and try to push you out of the way. It's bad in a lot of places. Mikey Hunts, favorite muscle car, favorite car to restore. That's a really tough question, because I've talked about, when you say muscle car, it can mean a lot of things to a lot of people. The muscle car era started with Pontiac GTO. Apparently, that's the technical time frame. And they progressed from there into different cars. Mopars and Mustangs and Camaros and Chevelles, and there's a whole bunch of different ones. But a favorite muscle car, I've said this before. I'm going to default back to some Studebakers. Studebaker was making production cars with superchargers on them. And to me, those were more muscle cars in the 50s than the muscle cars that actually were labeled in the 60s. So, 53 Commander, Studebaker Commander, 53, 54, one of the most beautiful cars in my mind ever. And I think it falls into the muscle car category when it has the supercharger on it. So, but otherwise, I would default to, and I'm torn between a Camaro and a Mustang, honestly, because I like them both. I've worked on both. I've worked on all kinds of stuff. I'm probably more adept right now at Mustangs, so I'll default to Mustangs for this answer. I want to do a 69 Mach 1. I want to buy a 69 Mach 1 that needs restored and put it all back together and build it my way. I may not build it stock, but I'll build it to where, I want to build it. But I still like to keep it look as, stock as possible. But I would say, 69 Mach 1, maybe even a 70, but a 69. Let's see, Marshall. Got the headlights straightened out this weekend with help of your video. Almost done with the metalwork. Almost. Thanks for the vid. You're welcome. You're welcome. Nick Pixel TV checking in. Glad you're here. Glad you're here, Nick. As I said earlier, I'm doing this broadcast on both my channels. So if I would say if somebody's here from the other channel, and if they have a comment, by all means, make a comment, just so I know you're here. If you want to say that you're from, the other channel, that'd be great. If you have a question, that's fine too. That's great. I know I'm probably going to try to have somebody on tonight. I know we had talked earlier or late last week. We had sent some emails back and forth, and I think either he's going to, I think it's sketchy. Okay, so I'm going to send him a link here in just a few minutes as we get caught up on everybody here, and then I'll get Sketchy on. Okay. So Mikey says 69 Mach is awesome. Good call. Yes, I agree with that. David Stepp. Hey, Barry. Just drove from Virginia to Oakland. Wow. That sounds like a long drive. I'm sure that was. And then we have Sketchy Ride checking in. Cool. All right. So let me get my invite going. I will send this to Sketchy Ride, and we'll have him on here in a little bit. Get him up in the background and ready to go. All right. Now I did notice early in the comments that were coming through, Kevin Dollar checking in. Glad you're here. Early in the comments, I had a question from Brian Francis. Okay. Now Brian says he's been looking at affordable primer guns. What would you buy? That's a good question. I can tell you, well, I have a couple different options or ideas. Years ago, when I was starting to do some work here at the shop, at my home shop, I talked to my PPG guy, and I said, "Look, I don't want to spend a bunch of money on paint guns. What can I use?" Well, I'll just show you. I still have the box with the what's the word? I can't think of the word. With the containers, I can't think of the word. Anyway, this is an ATD 6900 kit, right? It comes with, let's see if it breaks it down. It's a 9-piece HVLP gun set, stainless needle, blah, blah, blah. And the point is, this kit came with 3 guns. It comes with this little gun, which is like a touch-up gun. The cups. Yeah, cups. They're cups. All right. So it comes with this little gun with a small cup. It's like a touch-up gun, right? Then it came with, I believe this one is the primer gun, the purple gun. All right. And then I think the red gun was for base coat, if I remember correctly. This kit was like $99. My PPG guy told me specifically that a lot of guys at the body shop, they'll buy one of these kits, they'll paint with it for a year, and then toss it and get another kit. They'll wear it out in a year. So if you're just looking at something simple and basic, one of these kits probably do exactly what you need. The other option that I would say is I've been using this gun, and this is the Black Widow HVLP gun from Harbor Freight. These list at like $210, and I got these for $150 each on sale or with a coupon. And there was one is for like primer, and the other one is a top coat gun. And then I have a separate gun that I use for clear coat. But I'm just letting you know if you're looking at these. I've shown videos with this, and I've shown you've seen me spray with the other guns too. Looks like my feed is kind of lagging, at least what I'm seeing on the on my screen. I hope it's not lagging for everybody out there. Let's see. I got some more comments coming in. Jordan checking in. Glad you're here. Austin Baxter. Hopper, I think that could work. You could say Hopper. Truck One. I found a local race shop that said they will take a look into building the frame section for my fastback. Well, that's good. That's good. Sammy Lisa Smith, you are great no matter which channel people watch. Rock on. Oh, thank you. let's see, Jerry. So I see you. Okay, 5 watching with no comments other than mine. All right, so that's looks like there's a lot more. There's a lot more comments coming through. Maybe it's just lagging because I'm trying to do 2 feeds, and this may not be a good idea. I may have to stop streaming on both of them. I don't know if it works. Mikey, Jeff is saying good question. Like Barry, my favorite is both Mustang and Firebird. Out of respect for the 65, 66, a Firebird F body to restore. Definitely era. All right. You're hearing a washing machine in the background? I hope not. Yeah, I think I may have to. I don't know if it's working doing both streams. I may have to see. I may have to stop it on the other one. I don't know why it's lagging so much. Can anybody tell me if it's lagging on you? I don't know how to do this. I may just have to stop the second stream because it's not doing so well. So it was an experiment. So I'm going to say, if you're here from the workshop channel, I apologize. I don't think this is going to work. I'm thinking I have to stop that other stream. Let me see if I can do that. I'm going to have to stop it. So sorry. I'm going to drop the other stream. Okay. I hope it's still working. Let's find out. Maybe it'll catch up. I don't know. Maybe it'll catch up. All right. Jeff Reynolds says early Mustang. 777 Smitty says the red one looks like a Banks. I don't know if it's just a copy of a Banks. I have no idea. David Barnes checking in. Glad you're here. Nobody, throw up some likes. Yeah, that would be cool. Thank you. All right, so it's choppy like a Chinese overdub at times. Well, I'm sorry for that. Yeah, Rick, I had to cancel that. I think it's fighting it. So I don't know what's going on. I just had to cancel that feed. Brian W, check out Astro. They are great. Wish I could have found them up for about both Black Widows. Well, there you go. Astro. Brandon's Garage checking in from Christchurch, New Zealand. Glad you're here, Brandon. All right, so let's see. All right, so I don't know why it's lagging so bad. I don't know. Maybe my wife is trying to stream 4 different movies at the same time. All right, let me see. So Dave's saying no lag is detected. Boondocker says lagging bad over here. 4 minutes behind. Wow. All right. Well, I don't have anything else running. I don't have anything else going on. So let me see if Sketchy Ride is ready to come on. I see he's in the background. Okay, so let me give him an ad here, and we'll see if this doesn't make it worse.
How's it going?
Are you there?
Yep, right here.
Okay. Kind of hard to see. I got the sun in the background kind of making you look like a shadow. Oh, there you go.
Cool.
That's better.
Sweet.
How's it going?
Good. How are you, man?
I'm good.
Yeah, so here is my garage so far. I got the 66 right here, torn down, a bunch of pieces up there. And I got my grandpa's 65 fleet side over here that we're working on too.
Nice.
Got quite a bit going on over here for only being here for a month or so.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So tell me the story. What's up with the 66?
So the 66 was gifted to my grandma for her graduation, and then to my mom, and then she tore it up, and then eventually it kind of became my problem. So I'm kind of trying to figure out where I need to get started with it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting. It was the first car I really ever fell in love with, and I really want to do something with it, but I don't really know where I need to, get started on everything.
Well, give me some background. Is it a V8 car, 6-cylinder car, automatic?
289 with the automatic. I'm not sure what the transmission is.
It's probably a C4, more than likely.
Okay. Yeah, that's my guess. So the 289 is actually over here on the stand. I got
Okay.
that guy removed. And it looks like it's in pretty good shape. We had kind of the inclination that it might have been a 302 replacement because it was painted black. So I'm not totally sure.
Yeah.
I do know that it was burning some oil, so we checked the heads and it looked like there was a little bit of play in the valves. So I got to get those machined, it seems like. But starting with something that's so old and so torn apart and everything, I don't really know what I need to do on my way towards getting it running. What I should do while the engine's pulled, and I don't know. I'm just kind of seeking your advice.
Okay. So I see there looks like there's some fenders up in the rafters.
Yep.
Okay. Are the fenders in good shape?
It seems like it. It looks like one of the braces is a little bit rusted out. I don't know what piece that's called.
Okay.
But otherwise, yeah, they're solid.
Okay.
I have all the body panels stored up here. I have duplicates of some things too.
Now, was the car bolted together and complete when you got it?
Yeah.
Okay. So how are the body lines and stuff like that?
It looked like everything lined up pretty good. It looks like there might have been a rear end collision at one point in time because
Okay.
where the taillights sit, it's kind of bowed in. I don't know if I can show this off very well, but it looks like maybe there was something that hit right there.
I can't see where you're pointing.
My bad.
Sorry.
Not sure how to get this camera lined up. There we go. Yep. See right along here, it looks like it's a little bowed in.
Yeah, that is kind of pushed in. I mean, it has a natural curve there to begin with.
Okay.
The deck lid and the tail panel does have a subtle curve. So you said it's a 66, right?
Yep. As far as I know, 66.
Okay. So they have a subtle curve built into it. It's just a natural, very subtle curve. And a lot of people they think it's been like a damaged thing, but it's not. That's the way the deck lid is shaped. Like if you took a straight edge and put it across, you would see a subtle curve in the deck lid.
Okay.
And the tail panel should match that.
Okay.
Now, at the bottom, it should be straight.
All
where
right.
it meets the body of the car, it should be straight. So if you look to replacing that, you probably need to look for an original tooling tail panel. You don't want aftermarket. If you can find an original tooling, it's going to fit, and it'll fit just right. So you have to look at what's in front of that as well in the trunk pan area. What may have been impacted if it was rear-ended.
All right.
So just think of it that way. You got to work your way forward and find where the damage is and work your way back out. Otherwise, you'd have to look the car over and for obvious kind of rust.
Okay.
Stuff in the quarters, stuff in the floor pans, the cowl, all those areas.
It seems like somebody undercoated a lot of the interior and took care of, the aprons and everything. There's a little spot underneath the battery tray. See if you can see that.
Yep, typical.
And then the floor pans in the front. It looks like they've been like that for a while because somebody stopped the undercoating at one point. And it just looks kind of like in that crease there where the floor pans kind of angle upwards is where it rusted. And then I have a couple minor spots on the quarter panels. This seems to be the worst of them.
Yep. And you can section that if you need to.
Okay.
But when you do it, don't buy the patch panel.
Okay.
Because it doesn't fit right. If you look at my videos on Mystique, the 65 that I did a few years back, I did a patch on that right rear quarter, and I used a full skin, and I cut out the piece that I needed to put it in, because the patch panel they sell is like an overlay panel. It's not made to fit. It's made to cover everything up, and it doesn't match the transitions the way it's supposed to on the bottom. So I would say get a full skin and trim it off to where you need it, and go from there.
Right.
You'll need to look. Just look at the frame rails, all the stuff for rust and any kind of wrinkling. Like if you think it's been hitting the rear, check above the axle where the transition of the frame makes a curve.
Okay.
And see if it's kind of kinked at all. that'll be a giveaway. If it's been hit in the rear, it'll want to bow up above the axle.
Okay.
That's like the weak point on that kind of impact. So, but otherwise, make sure the cowl, make sure it's solid, and obviously, if it's bad, take it out.
Right. Yeah, that one kind of scares me a little bit. I'm hoping to do most of this stuff myself.
Right.
Get help from friends and things like that, and
Yeah.
get it all done here at the shop.
I've got tons of videos on this stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure. Even a good resource. And then another thing is the front valence pieces on the front of the frame that help hold up the bumper. When I was taking the bumper off, those came with it. They came right off of the frame rail, but all the metal around it seems to be solid. I've taken a corrosion wheel to it before and looked at it, and it looked fine. But yeah, it kind of makes me worried about kind of the internals of the frame or whatever. So.
Well, when you say when you took the valance off of the front of the fenders, you know what you're referring to?
Yep.
Okay. What came off with it?
Okay, here, let me try to get a decent angle on it.
Yeah.
Where did they come out of?
Because there's two bolts that go into the side of the frame to hold the bumper.
Right. So they were these little poles with flat plates on the front, and I'm not sure what exactly they bolted up to because most of the front end was removed. At least the front bumpers were removed when I had it. So I'm not sure if they were some sort of support or what. I was kind of curious if they were even very important.
That doesn't. I'm not sure. I'd have to see it to know exactly what you're referring to because there shouldn't be any separate plates. I'm not thinking there should be. My mind is not saying that.
I wonder if I got the pieces anywhere around here.
Yeah. But
here we go.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's your, oh, the end came off. Okay. That attaches to your bumper.
Okay. Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. So it helps support the bumper.
Okay. And is that going to be a big deal to replace, or is that something that might just be able to be deleted?
No, you want to put it on because the bumper, it bolts on the brackets in the front.
Okay.
And the sides is where it'll kind of like butterfly.
Okay.
It'll vibrate. So that's what that does. It keeps those ends from flexing around.
Okay.
So, and those are available.
Okay.
Yeah,
I got a Mustangs Plus pamphlet or magazine with all the catalog and all of that in there.
Okay.
So.
Good.
Yeah, I was just kind of wondering some of the steps like I should take while everything's apart. The engine, I wanted to paint it while it's out because it's never coming out again, hopefully,
right.
For a while. The engine bay, get that cleaned up. But other than that, I'm not really familiar with some of these old cars and kind of what people do. I know sound deadening would be cool, but I'm not really too sure how to get it because I'd like to get this car on the road by the end of the year, by the end of next year.
Okay.
But I got a long way to go.
Yeah. Next year sounds more reasonable.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, whatever's going on in your floor, if there's rust or anything like that, then you have to address that. And if it's the floor kick up, the firewall where it meets the floor pan, you have to cut out whatever's bad and weld in new pieces. So while the engine's out, that's a good thing to do. Make sure everything underneath in that area is taken care of and solid.
So you'd be more concerned about the actual body of the car than getting it running immediately?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I've had a lot of mixed opinions on that. Just get it on the road, get it driving and everything. But I really don't want to fall through the floor onto the asphalt.
No. The mechanical stuff comes last.
Okay.
The way I look at it, you want to get the body right, get it, if you're going to paint it and all that stuff, I'd much rather paint a car without an engine in it if I can. But I mean, there's nothing wrong with doing it. It's just a little more work to tape off and stuff like that.
Right.
But I would be more concerned with that it's the floor pans are solid, the quarters are solid, all those things. So while the engine's getting worked on or rebuilt or whatever, you can be stripping paint off and digging and trying to find bad spots.
Okay.
That's what I recommend.
Okay, cool. Right on. Yeah, sorry to come on here so clueless, but yeah, this is kind of the first full restoration I've ever done. I've done
Yeah,
some mechanical stuff, but
that's not a
yeah,
problem.
it's a lot to look at. But I'm happy with being able to make the progress and having my own garage to do stuff in finally.
Sure. So tell me more about the truck. How far along is it? What's it need?
So this originally had the straight six in it with the three on the tree.
Right.
And Grandpa also had, I don't know exactly what year it is, but it's a dually with a 454 in it with the automatic transmission. And
Okay.
so he wanted to swap the drivetrain over to the 65 so that we could, put a little more power behind this.
Yeah.
But he's starting to run into a few more problems than he thought. So we brought it over to my house so I could get working on it. As far as it seems, all the motor mounts are going to line up directly. The cross members for the transmission and stuff are going to need to be taken out and swapped. As far as I know, heater core relocation, stuff like that. It was throttle body injection, so I went ahead and I picked up another intake manifold so we can carburate it.
Right.
So it'll be a little easier. And then we were also just thinking of just throwing a floor mount shifter on it. That way we don't have to do a whole bunch of cables and all that. So
Yeah, that sounds reasonable. And they make the if you want it for looks, a company called Locar. I don't know if you heard of them or not. They make a shifter that'll look like the old style 4-speed or even 3-speed shifter in one of those trucks,
okay,
but it's an automatic.
all right,
It's called LOKAR, and it's a bolt in, and it looks just like one of those, the old style shifter, big, the round knob and everything, and you just use it like an automatic shifter, but it looks like one of the old styles. So,
yeah, that would be something he'd probably be interested in for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, this thing, it was in an accident a while ago, so the door doesn't quite line up or shut all the way. So there's a few things I need to do.
Sure.
I'm not familiar with a lot of metal work, but body work is kind of where I'm comfortable with it, and painting and stuff like that. So I'm excited to make this thing even shinier blue, and I make my grandpa happy, make
Sure.
him really happy.
Yeah, that's a good plan.
Oh yeah, yeah. He's helped me out with plenty of my projects, so I got to start helping him out.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's kind of concerned about throwing all the weight in the front because the suspension for the 6-cylinder, obviously it's going to squat down a little farther in the front. So
Yeah, he's going to need probably heavier springs.
yep, that's what we were thinking.
Yep.
Probably some shocks and all that, but yep, just got it cleaned up, got it pulled over to my house, no engine here yet, and kind of got the frame in better shape so that way we don't feel guilty setting a new motor on top of it and having it all rusty on there.
Yep. Sounds good.
Yep, for sure. But
yeah, I was gonna say, if you run into something where you're working on the car and you have a question, send me an email or something, and I can try to help you out with that.
Okay, for sure, for sure. So one more thing, what do you kind of think my next step on this thing should be? Just try to tackle on the Mustang, just try to tackle all the rust spots, or do you think it would be worth maybe strip sanding it down and putting a sealer on top of it, or kind of what should be my next goal? Because I've been kind of all over the place with it, working on the aprons and.
Right. Probably if you were you getting it media blasted, or are you just going to hand strip it?
I figured it would just be easier to hand strip it myself. Because it's not really in my budget to get that done, and it's not really something that immediately needs to be done. I just kind of work on it here and there.
Well, then what you can do, if you want to, you could probably work in sections. Let's say you start stripping the roof, get that cleaned up, get all that done, and just put some epoxy on it.
Okay.
And that way the roof is out of the way. You don't have to wait, because sometimes you start stripping something and it takes a while, and you got to be careful with heat, what you're using for a stripper and stuff. You could end up, causing it to surface rust or flash rust. So get the roof stripped, put a tape line, spray it with epoxy, move on. Go to a quarter panel or something, work your way down. If you want to do that, now we get all the car in epoxy at least. And even if you find some rust and damage, you can kind of let that go, just get the rest of the panel taken care of. And then once all that epoxy is on, then you can start cutting out pieces if you need to, and address those issues. I think your biggest concern may be that if it was rear-ended, that tail panel being bowed in at the bottom, there's going to be other pieces that go inboard or forward, let's say, that may need to be replaced as well.
Okay.
And they
And
sell all
that
those
would be
pieces.
quarter panels, most likely.
Well,
You're
the quarter
thinking,
panels may be okay. If it was like center punched, hit right between, it may have just buckled that inner panel that goes between the tail panel and the gas tank.
okay.
And that's that. You can cut that off and weld in a new one. It's not that hard. And then if you can find the original tooling tail panel, it'll fit right in. I mean, those things are really nice. But get everything stripped down, get it in epoxy, and start digging.
All right,
Try to find these bad spots. And once you get to that point, then you can, start working your way, get the repairs taken care of, start doing some body work, get it straight and get it in primer at the very least. Now, I don't know if have you pulled the drip rail trim yet?
No, nope, that's still on. I haven't been in a rush to get that done yet.
Okay. If you do that, I have a video about how to do that.
Okay.
Because a lot of people screw that stuff up. They just pull on it and start bending it, and then it's like ruined. So if you have the original drip rail trim, and I'll just tell you, it's pretty simple. I take a paint stick and I take the end of the paint stick and put it on the edge of the drip rail trim and gently tap it with a hammer, and it'll unpeel. But I have a video. I have a video about how to do that. So you want to try to save that stuff. And same way with the seal, the stainless material that goes above the door. If you look where your roof is, you've got a gasket up there. If you reach your hand up here, there's your gasket. There's a piece of stainless steel that holds that gasket in. Okay. So if you pull that gasket out, you're going to find probably about 8 or 9, maybe 10 screws that hold that stainless steel in place. And then to get those, a lot of times those screws will strip out, and people don't know, if you take a screwdriver and a hammer, you just tap it. A lot of times that'll jar it loose, and you can just unscrew the screws. But if you're going to pull that stainless out, which I recommend, use a putty knife, because from the factory it had double stick tape in there, and people will try to pull on those, and if they're not careful, it'll warp the shape of it. So if you start in the bottom front windshield frame and take a putty knife and joggle it in, you'll separate it. But you'll also find there's little tabs that are they're like looks like a little arrow that is bent in the, it's like a punch piece that creates a little, kind of like a hook that goes up into the windshield frame. And what it does, it's an alignment. So when you're doing your putty knife and you start hitting that, you don't panic. Just kind of work around it, and it's all part of it. It'll all come out. Okay.
I've heard something about a lot of people using bottle openers to get off that these trim pieces on the top. These drip rails. I don't want to try it. I was just curious what you had to say about it. But
go get you some paint sticks and a little hammer, and just tap on it gently. Like I showed you, look up the video, removing trim or something. I have it titled, and it's only like not even 5 minutes long, but it's a very simple video, and it just shows you how to kind of unpeel it off the car. Because if you can keep the factory stuff, you want to keep all that. So
there's one more thing I'm thinking of looking at this. So I know that this car's been repainted at one point in time. Right. It was originally this sort of tan color. You can see that. And then they painted it white. But maybe if I can get a good angle on this, you can kind of see how warped this roof line is. It seems like a whole bunch of dents.
A lot of that, if you're going to pull the headliner out, some of that you can take a hammer and dolly and smooth it. Okay. But you'll have to work that with the filler.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that was kind of the route to go, if this was like a common problem or.
It's not common. It looks like somebody sat on it.
Okay, yeah.
And wrinkled it. Believable. And then, like I said, hammer and dolly, you can tap out most of that. Okay. But you will need filler on top.
Yep, figures. Yeah, it's exciting. I hear there's a lot of lead put into these, so be careful when you strip sand.
Be careful. I've shown that in videos where I burned out the lead at the quarter seams. You don't have to take it out unless there's issues. I mean, a lot of people leave it in there, I'm just letting you know it's right at the quarter seam where it meets the roof line.
Yep.
Is the most of it. Let me go over some of the comments while you're on here because
Sure.
there's some people commenting. Let's see. Sammy Lisa Smith. This man is cool. He's going to build a sweet car. So that's a good comment. Truck 1LT bumper support bracket. That was the piece you were holding up that was rusted off. So, and Jerry said that as well. Several people have said that. They commented. Let's see. Killmat is sound deadener that Jerry recommends. So that's if you're looking at that stuff. Killmat. Truck 1LT says, pray it's not an onion. And that's because you start peeling, you know. Let me get a little bit further down. Okay, so Cuz 63, fix the underneath first. I could see not addressing the quarters and fenders, et cetera, until later. While it's preferable to do all the other things first, it's not always feasible. So, like I said, kind of take care of that floor pan and stuff, and work your way up. And there's a recommendation from Cooter Lab says, my advice is to invest in an exploded view assembly manual and a 66 Mustang shop manual to help identify the parts, understand how they go together. Will save you money and time. That's a good comment. What else? Well, he says some Chevy inline six engines weighed close to or more than the small block V8, but you're going with a big block. You're putting in a 454. So
454.
Yeah. Doug McCann is checking in. Let me see here. Jeff Reynolds says, sketchy ride, full props for coming on tonight and working with your grandpa in the way you are. Yep.
Thank you.
Seriously, enjoy my eyes here because mine's been gone for about 10 years now. I'm going to answer some other questions later. Truck 1LT says a bottle opener worked like a charm for him. So, but Randall Heath says he tried a bottle opener with bad results. Used a short length of 2x4 with square edge and tapped it off with no issues at all. So very similar to paint stick idea. Let me see what else we have. All right. Clark Clifford says measure everything. Make a little sketchbook if you have to.
Right.
Take measurements,
I mean, seeing you even try and line up some of those tiniest panels, quarter inch, eighth inch, that stuff was crazy meticulous. I can't wait to get to that stage and
yeah.
be like, all right, now I'm done. It's all perfect.
Yeah. All right. Well, cool. I hope we answered some questions for you.
Yeah, you did for sure. Thank you for the comments too. I'll have to look up that shop manual.
Yep. And check out that video and, just keep following along. You'll learn stuff.
For sure. Thank you so much for having me on.
All right. We'll see you.
All right. Have a good night, Barry.
You too. Okay. That was pretty cool. Nice to see projects. Young man who's learning as he goes. Fantastic. He's got a lot of learning to do, but he's eager to take care of it and get it done. So that's a good thing. Let me see here. All right, so I think we worked our way through the lag issues. I don't know why it was being so difficult. I guess it was maybe because I was trying to do both streams at the same time. And David Barnes, 68 Mustang rear glass install with 3M bedding compound. Any thoughts? Not really. I know that's been recommended to use the bedding compound. I have not put one in quite some time, so I don't really have a good answer for you. I know Jerry had recently done his 66 Mustang, which is going to be very similar, but I don't have any particular advice for you. I know some people use a small rope to help pull the gasket. Some I've heard you use like trimmer wire from your weed eater. Have you used that? But that's about all I can say on that. Grease Rookie, I'd pick up a 67 Corvette. I'd pick up a 67 Corvette Stingray 427. It just looks like Batman's daily driver. Boy, why did I have a hard time saying that? Blah. I agree, though. I do like the 67 Corvette. So Jay Umden says 65 289s were painted black, 66 were blue. And I have a 65 with a black engine in it. So yes, I agree with that. Jerry Tyler, I don't know. You say music. I'm not sure what that's coming from or what you're hearing. Let me move on down the line and try to get caught up on all of the comments. Jeff, I'm not trying to scare him. I'm just giving him some facts. Okay, so Gordon, who does Barry buy body parts from with Mustangs Unlimited gone? Typically, I mean, if I needed something, I've ordered from CJ Pony Parts with mixed results. I've had some good, some bad, but that's like the only one I've really tried. I've heard Kentucky Mustang. I've heard, NPD, different companies, but I've only kind of experimented with CJ Pony. So let's see. I didn't say it. Doug McCann is checking in. I don't know if I mentioned that or not. Jay Umden. Barry, what welder would you recommend? Well, currently I use a Lincoln 140T, and it does everything I need. I have no issues with it. So I'd be happy to say get a Lincoln, or there's Hobart, anything in that range. I'd even consider Harbor Freight stuff. They've been putting out better products, and I wouldn't buy the Chicago electric one. I would probably buy the orange or green one, whatever it was. But currently I use a Lincoln 140T. Have no problem with it. Rick Stevenson, I wish that I could work with my grandfather. Yeah. I've mentioned this in the past, I'm sure. And if you've seen the videos that I made on the Model A that I restored, that was my grandfather's car. My dad drove that car in high school. My mom and dad went on their first date in that car. And I restored it back. I started on it in 2006, January of 2006. Finished it up in August of 2007. And I towed it back to Pennsylvania so that my grandparents could go for a ride in it. And it was pretty amazing because my grandfather had some sort of like Alzheimer's or something that he didn't know who I was for the last 10 years. Just didn't register at all. And which is disheartening. However, when I got that car and I rebuilt it, took it back up to him, and we had it at his house, he came out of the house, and I haven't seen him like this like ever. He was practically skipping and like giddy to see that car. He remembered that car. And so, a year and a half or better of me killing myself to get that car back together paid off because it made him happy. They got to go for one ride in it. They had a parade in our little town, and it was well worth every drop of blood, sweat, and tears that came out of me for that project. And so, if you haven't seen it, I have 2 videos on that Model A, and it was a tribute for him more than anything. And that car's still here. You've seen it, probably seen it, maybe another video, but it's here. And every time I drive that car, I'm driving with my grandfather. So good memories. Let's see. Doug McCann. I have some questions about mounting a York compressor in my 64.5 convertible Mustang. 200 cubic inch original mount for the compressor and the generator on the right side of the engine. I can't help you with that. Sorry. That's unfamiliar territory for me. So if anybody has some advice for Doug, by all means, please help him out, because I've not been around one of those. I couldn't even point at say this is how it goes. Bob Shoemaker checking in. He had a long mowing session. Well, good. Randall, the installation of my new cowl lower section and reclaimed upper cowl for my 67 Cougar is complete. Awesome. That's good to hear. Doug McCann, anyone have this set up in their vehicle? Would like to see some pictures. So again, if anybody can help Doug out, and if anybody does have pictures of that setup, maybe we can get Doug's email and you could send him some pictures of your car so Doug could see what it's supposed to look like. Yeah, that's okay, cuz. Yeah, he's been putting a 454 in. Let's see. Jerry, I just installed the rear window I used rope caulking and used 1/8 inch line to install the window. So there you go. Jeff, Barry, it's good to see that you're still more than one viewer per minute. Yeah, that's cool. Well, right now I'm at 56 in 56 minutes. So we'll see how that works out. Yeah, Dave. Yeah, it was really, it's interesting in that the whole storyline of that car because, like I said, my dad, he started driving that car. Well, they brought the car home when he was 16. And I think it was 1958 is when they found it. And got it running. Like I said, my dad drove the car in high school. And the fondest memory I have of that car literally is my grandfather would start it up every so often and take us grandkids for a ride in it. So we'd have, I don't know how many of us, 3, 4, 5, I don't remember, would climb in the car and he would drive us around his house and around his neighborhood. And I can remember sitting on his lap and hanging on to the steering wheel, you know, the classic steering, I'm steering the car. And so the from there, the car ended up sitting and, you know, I went off, went in the military and came home and, you know, started my aviation career and all that stuff. And of course, had the body shop going. And the car was inside a garage or barn type of building that was falling down. Hadn't moved in years. And I tried to buy the car. I tried to buy that car off my grandfather. And he wouldn't sell it to me, which I thought was really weird. He wouldn't sell it to me. And but he offered it to some other people for like ridiculously low amount of money. And I was like, well, I'll take it for that. I'll pay you for it. But he wouldn't let me have it. So it was kind of weird. Well, from there, the car ended up at my dad's place outside under some tarps. And I had to convince my dad that I was going to make good on this car, restore it, make it right. He didn't think I was going to do that. He was like, oh, you'll ruin it. You're going to turn it into a hot rod, butcher it, and blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, I don't know why you'd think that because I've never done that with any car ever in my history. Ever. So finally I convinced him. And I said, look, let me take this car back to Georgia. I'll restore it, bring it back. You know, grandfather gets, my pap gets one last ride in it. And then the original deal was I told my dad, I said, you can have it. After I get it all done, you can have it. You know, fine. I don't care. I just want to do it for him. And so anyway, I get the car. And like I said, January 1, 2006, I started on that car and I finished it August. I was talking to my son about this. It was August 8th, 9th of 2007. I was literally still putting it together when my buddy showed up with the trailer that we were going to tow it with. In fact, he had to help me set the hood on. We got the car on the trailer, and then I built like a plywood, you know, kind of shield for the front of the car to make it, you know, try to protect it on the trip. But anyway, the trip went well. I think in that week or 2 weeks time, I believe that I was working about 16 to 18 hours a day in that last week just on that car to get it together because there was a parade in our town. And so, man, I was killing myself. I was just getting work as late as I could, go lay down, sleep, you know, 4 or 5 hours, get up, come back out in the garage and just go at it. And anyway, so from there, we did the trip. My grandparents rode in the car. And then afterwards, my mom was there and I talked to her and I said, okay, I'm going to bring the car to your house and unload it. And my mom said, nope, you're not doing that. And I was like, no, that was the deal. When I make a deal, I make a deal. And she said, no, keep it on the trailer. You're taking it back to Georgia. I said, you're not bringing that car to our house because your dad doesn't have a place to put it and it'll just sit outside and rot all over again. I said, okay, I'm cool with that. So that's why it's here, and that's why, when I can, I drive it on occasion. Now, to that, I'll emphasize that there's new parts in the car. There's a lot of original parts on that car. Lots of work, lots of money buying new this and new that, and time and whatever. And when I built that car, I had bought so many new pieces for it. I bought a new steering wheel, and I don't know if it's still here or not. I might have sold it, but I bought a brand new steering wheel. And when I pulled it out of the box and I started looking at it, the steering wheel just didn't feel right. It was new, but it was not like an original Ford steering wheel. So the grooves, the shape wasn't exactly the same. And I started looking at that, and then I looked at the original steering wheel, and of course it had some cracks in it and has wear, because those steering wheels would wear down just from your hand, being on them, moving it around. So anyway, I elected to keep the original steering wheel. And my thoughts are, well, this is the same steering wheel that my grandfather used when he drove the car. This is the steering wheel my dad used when he drove the car. This is the steering wheel I'm going to use when I drive the car. And if my boys or anybody proceed to, take on the car and keep going with it, it'll be the steering wheel they use. So like I was saying, every time I drive that car, I'm riding with my grandfather. That's all I can think of, is I'm going somewhere with my grandfather. And anyway, so that was just a kind of a long story there, but that's why I kept that steering wheel, and that's why I enjoy that car as much as I do. All right, let's see. We have Kareem. Arthur Tusik is a guy from Latvia or Lithuania. I don't remember, but he is good with hammer and dolly. Well, okay. Well, come on. Got it. Randall Heath, anyone have any tips for removing the roof from a 67 Cougar? I have a new roof and the quarter panels from Dynacorn to install next. Well, if you have a new roof, you should be able to just kind of reverse engineer it. Get a look at where it attaches and kind of work your way backwards. That's what I would recommend. You probably already know where the seams are, so separating welds. And if the roof is bad enough, you don't have much to lose if you damage it. So, but I'm gonna say there's probably a series of pinch welds or spot welds on the windshield frame. There should be a series there, and I'm not sure when they transition with the Cougar. I don't know for sure how the side is attached, because I know in the 65 and 6 Mustang, I tried to do a drip rail repair on one of those, and it was really it was weird how they put it together. And I think 67 and 8 is slightly different, but you kind of reverse engineer. A lot of times whenever I'm stuck like that, I just kind of visualize how they would have put it together, whether it was a spot welder or whatever, and kind of go backwards. So unless somebody else has some better advice, that's what I'm going to say. Robert Adams is checking in, and Robert Adams, pretty sure he's got a YouTube channel now, but I don't know what the name is. He hasn't told me. So we'll have to work on that and get that, get him. He's to start making videos. He told me he was going to make videos. So anyhow, I have an update video from Robert, so I have to get that addressed as well. Dave, another great story. Things like this are what make these vehicles much more than the sum of the parts. If you don't mind me asking, is your dad still with us? Yes, he is. Dad's still around. Well, mom and dad. All my grandparents are gone. But yeah, dad's still around, and he's still kicking. He's still kicking. Let's see, Kareem. I had 2 Mustangs back in the day. I once took the engine apart, cleaned it all with a toothbrush. It worked fine after that. Well, that's a plus. That's a plus. I'll give you credit for that. 777, great story, family, everyone from the heart. Yeah. That's why I would be really heartbroken, I think, if anything ever happened to that car. The difficulty, I don't know if my boys are going to want to take over that car. Unfortunately, that's just natural. I don't blame them at all. It's not in their wheelhouse. I'm the car guy. I'm dad, the car guy. But I don't know if they can handle everything that is needed to keep the car running, or if they even want to deal with it. And I can't blame them. I really can't. So I'm kind of hoping my little grandson, maybe he'll be interested in it, and I'll be able to pass it on to him in a sense. We'll see what happens. Let's see. Clark, if you had to get a roof and couldn't for a 68 Mustang, would you buy a fastback roof or a 65 roof and make either fit? That's a tough question. I don't know I don't know that the 65 roof will actually fit. But I don't know. It depends on what you're trying to fix. Are you just trying to fix a section, or what part of the roof is bad? Let's start with that. Jay Umden, Lincoln 140T. Does this T stand for TIG? Looking it up online now, just making sure I'm finding the right one. No, I don't know what it stands for. I have no idea. I know I have it listed on my Amazon page. So if you're looking to buy it, check out my Amazon page. But I don't know what the T stands for. I've had, I don't know, some sort of branding, but I don't know for sure. Let's see. Blue Oval fan. Great form. Appreciate the knowledge here. Question, looking for help determining market value for a complete 67 coupe that runs. 289, 2-barrel, 4-speed. Sorry. Rust on doors, rear windows, otherwise complete, but shows its age. That's a really tough question to answer. You'll see the market all over the place, price-wise. I mean, you're seeing a lot of 6-cylinders now that are coming out. They're trying to get $10,000 for them. But I think you say rust on doors, rear windows, otherwise complete. So have you know, has it been restored at all? Anything been worked on, been repainted? Does, you know, can you truly say that the quarter panels are solid? Do you know? Is it, how long have you had it? You know, what's the background? There's a lot of variables in that. So, but if anybody has any good advice, you know, maybe let them know. Based on that, I'm gonna guess your price range is probably roughly 6 to 10, depending. You know, it's hard to say without seeing it. You know, really hard to say. Pedro, hi Barry. Do you have some general tips on welding without warping? Yes. Go very slow. When I'm doing a quarter panel or anything where I'm out in the open and I'm trying to weld, I'll do tack welds, tack welds, tack welds. I'll start off in like 2 to 3 inch gaps. Do those tack welds, let it cool. Go back in between the gaps, tack weld, tack weld, tack weld. Walk away, let it cool. Don't get in a hurry. Everybody, you know, they start making progress on a weld, and they're like, "Oh, this is going great. I'm excited. This is going. This is great. This is great." And they get all done, and it's like, "Hey, you forgot," and you end up with a friendly quarter panel that's waving at you, or whatever. But it might take me hours to weld in something, because I'll weld and then I stop, walk away, go do something else, come back, continue doing tacks until I get it back in solid. So that's my advice. Go slow. Robert, I'm editing my door skin video. Bad audio, have microphone coming, will be a 3-part. Door was worse than I thought. Well, nothing wrong with a 3-part video. Blue Oval, paint is fine. Candy apple red, other than some fading in the rust spots. In fact, it has all the Shelby front and back. Looks like Little Red. Are any good sources I can reference or opinions? You're going to find all kinds of opinions. I really can't. I mean, I saw a car listed on Facebook. It was a 67 or 68 coupe, yellow with a vinyl top. Needed a button. It would look okay. It was probably a decent driver, and those people wanted $32,000 for it. V8. I think it was a stick car. They wanted $32,000 for it. They'll never get $32,000 for that car. I mean, the vinyl roof was peeling off, a bunch of stuff going on. But point being, probably what it's worth is what somebody will pay for it. Let's put it that way. So if you list the car, if you just throw it out there somewhere on sales and whatever, Facebook or wherever, and you tell us about the car, whatever you can say about it. If you have a title, generally makes it worth a little more because it's hard to get a title sometimes. But you could list it for, say, 18, 20, 22, and just see what kind of, offers you get back on that. But I don't have a good answer for you again without, it's hard to assess something without seeing it. I've seen some fantastic cars or look like fantastic cars. And like I looked at a 64 and a half convertible at a cruise in a week ago, last week. Yeah. And the car looked fantastic. It did. And I was talking to the owner. He said he bought it from somebody in New York and it was supposed to be all original or whatever. And I started checking it out, and both the quarter panels are nothing but Bondo. I mean, the whole bottom of the quarter panels, Bondo. And he didn't know it. He thought it had, a solid car. So that's where you get these variables. And some people will they don't care. They'll buy it anyway. But it's really hard to give you a good number. Robert, no uploads yet, but it is still the Infernal Craftsman. Won't show up until 3 videos. It is the Infernal Craftsman. Okay. I like that name. Clark, hypothetical, no roof to fix yet. Okay. Well, again, that's kind of a wide open. Usually a roof needs replaced because it had a vinyl roof on it or vinyl covering and it caused rust. And, that's usually what happens. Now, I've seen people section out the first foot of a roof and put in another piece and weld it together and just go for it. But the difficulty with any of these is the fact that, they don't make, or they may now make a coupe roof. I haven't researched it. I think they actually may. They may actually make a coupe roof by now. But I don't know. So, again, the difficulty is where's the damage? What are you trying to fix? Maybe you're looking at a vehicle that's got some problems and the people are trying to sell it, So I don't have an easy answer for you because, again, it depends on location, how bad it is, stuff like that. Kareem, Pedro, there's no way to avoid warping, but you have to know how to weld and from which side. You have to be a welder to understand what I mean. Well, yeah, sort of. I kind of get that. But the biggest thing I can say is take your time. There's some people who can use heat sinks and different things like that to help, but I say go slow, take your time. Gordon, hard to put a price on a unrestored vehicle. And again, I want to, emphasize, is it unrestored, or it sounds like it's had some other stuff added to it. If it has Shelby components added on, it sounds like something's been done to it along the way. So, but it is hard to put a price on, certain things. And even the add-ons, it's hard to put a price on. Is it worth it to put on the Shelby stuff? I don't know. Well, it depends on who you're trying to sell it to. 777, Blue Oval, sorry to say, but people see any rust, they run. Yes, typically, because they know if it's got something showing, it's got problems elsewhere. Harvey, Robert, I would like to see a door skin video. I do not know the quality of the replacement skins. Well, he'll have one in the works, I'm sure. Robert will be up soon. Fit is excellent for the passenger side. So there's a shout out to the passenger side door skin for a 65 and 6 Mustang. Oh, that's the other thing. Speaking of Mustangs, I think I'm buying another Mustang. I almost can't pass it up. I found one. It's a 66, and it was a 6-cylinder car. But the price is too good. No matter what shape it's in, the price is probably too good for me to pass up. So I'm probably going to maybe getting it tomorrow. And I think along with the car, I'm going to end up with a 302 engine and an automatic transmission out of a mid 80s truck or something. He's throwing in with it. And anyway, so I'll have another Mustang. What am I going to do with it? Well, I don't know yet. Whether I'm just going to eventually do sheet metal work on it, maybe eventually convert it to a V8 car, do all the options to make it a V8. I don't know yet, but hopefully tomorrow there's another pony in the corral. I just can't pass it up. But we'll see. Nick Moss. Hey, Barry, I was waiting to update that the seats, when he modified with the DSE tubs, I was going off a friend's info last time, but I have firsthand knowledge now. I will do live stream Thursday. Okay, yeah, we talked in a previous previous stream, where he was, I think we were talking about the seats being modified to fit the mini tubs in the Mustang. And so we may have to follow up on that later. And I don't remember if he said the seats had to be modified or they didn't have to be modified. I don't remember. So, and he's saying to get on later to update things he found out along the way. So that might be a good one to look at on Thursday if he's going to get on Thursday and get some information about that, the mini tub setup. Arthur, good for you, get a 69. Well, eventually, because maybe I can, get the 66 and do some, work on it, get the body work straightened out or something, and then, sell it to somebody. I don't know. We'll figure that out, but it'll come later. Okay, so Nick says, sorry if I inconvenienced anyone with that info, and they dived into one after hearing that. Okay. Well, we'll figure it out. I don't want to go into details just yet. I don't have the car just yet, but I'll say pretty reasonable with everything that's coming with it, or well, with the engine, transmission, and all that stuff. So I don't want to get into details on it, but we'll say less than $1,500 for a roller car. So less than $1,500. Let's see. Arthur, we have 4, 05, 67, 69, 75. Let's see. That's okay. You get 4 bells for that. Rick, I paid $400 for my current project, 68 coupe with lots of rust. Has a running 289 and a good top loader. Well, that's cool. That's a steal, really, in my opinion. I would pay $400 for one of those right now. Randall's checking out. I'm glad you were here. We'll see you later. Arthur to 75. We're going to a Charlie's Angels Farrah car. Okay. That's cool. Yeah, that's cool. 777 Blue Oval. How about a few pictures? Maybe we can help some. Yeah, I don't know how we'd get them up without. I don't know where we could see the pictures at. Okay, so Grease Rookie, Andrew, he's considering doing a live stream walk around of. Oh, considering live streaming a walk around of the car tomorrow. That'd be great. You're talking about your car, right? You're talking about your car? It's your shop, your garage? You're talking about the car that I'm going to be picking up, because I don't know if I want to reveal it just yet. I just kind of want to. It's going to sit off to the side, get covered up in tarps, and just wait. Just wait on pins and needles. Okay, so Goodmunder said he's looking forward to that. So I'm assuming he's thinking you're doing a live stream as well. Maybe that's what we're considering. I don't know. David, what can you expect to pay for a 69 Mach 1 351 Cleveland? Worst case? What do you mean worst case? Like worst case, like highest price, or one that's in the worst condition? That's 2 different scales. So you kind of have to narrow that down a little bit. because it's, again, the market's all over the place. I've seen, in fact, on Facebook Marketplace right now, there's a 69, I believe, or 70 fastback, all new sheet metal. The guy says, it's all welded together. It looks great. Nothing's in it, no interior. I think he has all that stuff, and he's selling it for like $12,500. It's cheap, but I don't have $12,500 to throw at it. And I also don't know, the parameters, what all comes with it. Then I've seen another one. Well, you say worst condition. Okay. That's where it gets kind of crazy too. I've seen some on there, like Facebook Marketplace, similar to what you're, pointing to or saying. I thought I saw a 69 or 70 fastback that looked like it was ready to fall apart, and they were trying to get $6 or $7,000 out of that thing. So, not feasible in my mind. I haven't seen any below 5 or 6 in any condition. No, I take that back. I did see one on Marketplace a couple years ago. The guy was trying to sell for $1,500. It was a 70. I don't even know if it was a True Mach 1. However, it was so bad that the windshield frames were rusted out. The A-pillar, the toe kicks. You were basically buying I don't even know, maybe rocker panels, and he was trying to get $1,500 out of that thing. It was really, really bad. So it's kind of all over the place, price-wise. Andrew, consider walking around the car you're picking up. Oh, so you want me to do a live stream on that car? Not yet. Nope. I just want to get it home. Like I said, it'll go off to the side. I'll buy some tarps, cover it up. It'll sit. It'll be fine. No rush. The only reason I'm buying it is because the price is right, in my opinion. I've seen, cars prices all over the place. And I kind of like the idea that the car, I know it needs like floor pans and stuff like that, which is fine. I'm not worried about that. And I think it has potential to be a really nice car, as long as somebody's interested in, upgrading, let's say. So again, whether I convert it to a V8, put the engine, transmission, everything in it, or whether I just kind of straighten out whatever's there and get it in primer, put it up for sale, here it is, or whether I start doing a conversion on it, put in the 5-lug, conversion, CSRP brake system. I don't know yet. It's all up in the air. But for me, it's just an easy one that I can get it, push it to the side, and it'll be here. I don't have to worry about it. Pretty nice to have another something just sitting there waiting. So, Grease Rookie, good Munder. I meant Barry's car. I'll be doing a live stream sometime soon, though. Well, you got to get your Wi-Fi boosted or something, don't you? Weren't you struggling with that? I think said you had problems with that. Kareem, to David, I bought a Mach 1 1973 back in '76 for $3,000. I later bought a 429 Super Cobra Jet for about $5,000. I sold them for pennies. Yikes! That's not good. That doesn't sound positive. You can't really compare the time and the pricing then to pricing now. It's all over the place, but always difficult to try to assess. Gordon Cahoon, got to finish projects you have now, then worry about the new one. Yes, yeah, that's the whole idea. It's just nice to have something else that I can, because there's some things that I want to do, and I've talked about this before. I've considered doing a fastback conversion, buying all the pieces. If I can find the right deal for the pieces to do the fastback conversion, I might turn that, it's a 66, I believe. I might just turn that 66 into a fastback. I don't know yet. I don't know. We'll see. I got to look it over and see what condition it's in and whether it's even practical to consider that. There's a market for that, obviously, but I have to get the right price on a kit to make it worth my time and all that. Good Monday. That's okay, Andrew. In the meantime, I'll walk around mine a few times. Yeah, that's a good plan. Just make a victory lap. Let's see. Robert Adams, my rule of thumb on Mustang values, every panel that needs replacing or fixing, I average $200 each to replace. Floor, $500 and so on. Then I add that up along with what it needs, then go from there. Yeah, that sounds reasonable. It really does. Yeah, that does sound reasonable. Now, this particular car, like I said, it is a 6-cylinder car, which, if it was a V8 car, it'd be worth more, just the way the market bears. But being a 6-cylinder, that's why I can get it for a reasonable price. Doesn't mean I can't do more to it than what it was originally designed for. Robert just figured an average for materials. Yep, that works. Blue Oval, isn't the parts conversion about $5,000 in structural panels? Doesn't include interior. Correct. Yeah. And see, that's the thing. That's what I mean. It has to be worth it to do that. Like if I can somehow get a really good price on a kit, maybe I can talk to somebody and find a reasonable price that I can make it justifiable. Maybe, but it's all speculation at this point. I'm not again, not in a hurry, not worried about it. There'll be time to let it sit and do other things. 777, people that sell a car don't really understand the time and money it takes to restore it, so they overprice them. Very true. And again, one of the advantages in this case was this car had been for sale on Marketplace for quite some time. And I think the guy bought it thinking he was just gonna start throwing paint at it, and drop an engine in it and drive it. And younger guy. And I think he realized that that's not going to work. He figured that out pretty quick. So it'd been on Marketplace for like months and months, and he had it listed at a much higher price. And he just kept dropping the price down. And when I contacted him, he just kind of said, "When can you come get it?" I made an offer. He said, "When can you come get it?" So he wants it out of there. And even to the point of making it a better deal for me, whenever he was like, if you give me this amount of money, I'll give you the engine, transmission, whatever. So I'm like, well, I think I can work around that. So Blue Oval, does it have pony interior? No, just a regular car, nothing special. Robert Adams, unknown or no engine and a body and interior that needs the usual. My first thought is $500. Yeah, it's not quite that cheap, but again, I'm getting an engine and transmission with it, so we'll find out. Robert, I'll fly out and help you load it. Help you load it up and get it home. Well, the nice part is it's only like an hour away. I've already got the trailer hooked up. Tomorrow morning, take off, get the thing loaded up, bring it back. And like you said, it'll just be pushed to the side. I'll run up to Harbor Freight, buy some tarps, cover it up, camouflage it. So it's out of sight, out of mind. And again, worry about it later. Or, I may even look at reselling it and not even keeping it that long. I may put a one-piece floor pan in it because I know it needs a floor pan, and I've been wanting to do a one-piece floor pan anyway. So I may just do that. Who knows? But no rush, no hurry. Just going to sit on it. Sketchy Ride, thanks for having me on. Thank you for teaching so many people and being willing to share what you know. I'm glad you were here. You get a bell for that. I don't mind sharing stuff. 777, I know where a 67 is sitting, but I'm scared to stop and ask. The wife would kill me. It doesn't hurt to ask. Really doesn't hurt to ask. Doesn't hurt at all. At all. Yeah, I know. I've looked at a few. I've seen some 67 and 68s pop up, and I've kind of keep an eye out. I mean, I'm obviously looking for a 69 fastback. I don't care if it's a real Mach 1 or not. But you know, if I find a right deal on another 67 or 68, you know, I might buy one of those too. Just push it to the side. But you know, because I have a 65 in the garage, and I'm pretty sure this one is a 66. I've got a 68, so I just need a 67 and a 69. You know, and I've got the era covered, right? That might be the plan. Gary, I have a 66 convertible looking to purchase, install fiberglass fastback roof. Checking vendor in Florida. Do you know of any close to Rhode Island? I don't. Anybody have an answer for Gary? Because I don't know anybody who sells that stuff. I haven't looked into that at all. You're welcome. Blue Oval. Wasn't Mystique a whole floor pan? Nope. Mystique was side-to-side floor pans. So the driver's side, passenger side floor pans. What I want to do is a one-piece floor pan, which does the whole thing. It does a tranny tunnel, pans. It's all one shot. That way you don't have any weld seams. And I think that would be a great candidate to show that process. But anyway, that's the plan. If I do it, I'd like to do a one-piece floor pan. Let's see, David. It's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission. That's true. That is true. Clark Clifford, 64 and a half. You know how to cheat the system. Yeah. Yeah, it's 64 and a half. It's, yeah. Blue Oval, what's the right deal price-wise? What does it need or missing for your price? What's the right deal price-wise? What does it need or missing for your price fancy? Well, it's I don't know. It's just something. For me, I'm more worried about just having something I can do sheet metal work on, because I want to do sheet metal work. I don't necessarily have to do mechanicals, so I really didn't care if it came with an engine or not. But the engine made it more reasonable to buy. So, like I said, it was less than $1,500 for the whole package. And anyway, that's whether that makes sense or not, I don't know. But Robert, when I'm done with the Mustang, the El Camino will come out of deep cold storage and get some much needed attention, and maybe an LS. I like that. Gordon, the Brooklyn was a one-piece. No, the Brooklyn Pony was a one-piece, entire floor, frame rails, everything. I'm talking about just the center pan. They sell a one-piece center pan that'll do the tranny tunnel and the two footwell areas, you know, complete. Instead of cutting out a seat pan on either side or a floor pan on either side of the tunnel, it's a one-piece, so there's no seam. The Brooklyn Pony and the light blue Mustang, yeah, that had the full frame rail, floor pan, seat risers, everything built in. So yeah, that's one thing. But this one I'm looking at, I'm hoping that I can just do the interior floor pan as a one-piece deal. So we'll see. And if I do, well, you know, I'll make a video on it. We'll get it out there. I'm really hoping the doors are in good shape, and you know, I may even use it in some sense. Maybe, I don't know if I need to have. There may be some pieces that I may need to steal off of it, because one of the problems I have with, and maybe I can get some insight from anybody here. I haven't looked into it. One conflict that I have with the Brooklyn Pony right now is the little I don't know, metal pieces that they weld to the floor that hold the back seat into the car, hold it in place. I don't have those. I mean, I don't know if I'm assuming somebody makes them, but I have not researched it. And the car, everything in that area was rusted, gone. There was nothing to salvage. So maybe somebody has an answer for that. I have not looked into it yet. But it's that little, I don't know what you call it. It's a little piece that looks like that, has two little tabs on it that welds to the floor, about that wide. And when you put the back seat in, it locks into it. So if anybody has any pointers on that, that would be great. Otherwise, I'm going to be looking for some of those. I may have to, I don't know. I don't want to make them. I'd rather buy them. So Jorge is checking in from New Jersey. Glad you're here. Robert says they make the rear seat pieces. Well, I guess I need to do a little research and a little Googling and get them, because I'm going to need them for the Brooklyn Pony. And that's another thing I think I talked about it on, well, I did talk about it on Thursday. You saw the little video that I made where I cleaned up the paint and all the stuff off the bench. It's kind of weird looking at my bench now and being able to see the plywood and, nothing on it. Well, there's a little bit on it. But one other thing that I talked about on that live stream on Thursday was, now let me look at this quick. David Stepp. Is it worth it to invest into a rotisserie getting too old to be crawling around? Well, you could, or you can make a tip over kit out of wood. I've seen those. You can do a research, Google Mustang tip jig or whatever it is, and you can fabricate one that basically it's like half a wheel, kind of rolls up on its side and it just bolts to the car. So that's probably an easier route if you're just looking at, not having to invest in one and just have it. Where the tip jig, you can make it and take it apart or burn it, whatever, when you're done with it. Rascal's Garage is checking in, and 777 think it's just a bent flat bar. Yeah, it basically is, but I'd rather not make my own. I'd rather just buy them. They can't be that expensive. Just buy them, get them, be done with it. But let me show you something, because whenever I was on last Thursday, this was a brief topic of conversation. If you remember, I may have talked about it. I'm going to be blocking off the vents on the cowl on Brooklyn Pony. The owner wants them blocked off because basically with the air conditioning system installed and blocking off the chimneys, from underneath, you're not going to get any fresh air anyway. And all that leads to is an area that water and junk can get trapped in. So I bought this. This is just a sheet, small sheet, 12 by 18, I think, of 16 gauge steel. And I mentioned this because, I don't need a giant piece of steel. I don't need a 4x8 sheet. I don't need multiple pieces laying around. And, the debate is always, well, if you buy in bulk, you get it cheaper. Well, I don't need tons of metal laying around like that. This was from Lowe's. It was like $15, but I can make all the pieces I need to block off the cowls. And what I'm going to do is basically, make a piece that will fit. It'll like sit onto the cowl, because the cowl vent is actually kind of recessed. It's kind of sunk in from the top down just a little bit. And I think I'm pretty confident that 16 gauge steel is the thickness that I need to lay in there and weld in place. And of course, it'll need body filler later, but if I do that, that's going to make it take up some of that drop. So anyway, just something to think about if you're looking at doing that. I am going to consider, I haven't gotten that far yet, but I'm going to consider making some templates. And maybe I've got a friend who has a CNC plasma cutter, And I'm thinking if I can make some really accurate templates, then I can get him to cut out on the CNC and, you know, make those pieces. Cause I really don't want to make them by hand. That's not going to be fun. But I could do a CNC and like do a video on it. Who knows? Maybe there's a market for that, for those pieces. I don't know. Maybe I could, I don't know. But anyway, that's kind of my plan, is to make something, a template, and get those pieces made. So, 777, you have pictures of my tip jig. I do. I probably do somewhere. You may have sent me some pictures. I don't remember, but there's plenty of them online. I know that, instructions and whatever. So, Derek Pro checking in from Australia. Busy morning. Finally made it. Hope you're all well. We are. Thank you. I am. I hope everybody else is. I'm assuming. Rascal's Garage. Do you use oil for your Harbor Freight paint shaker? Hydraulic oil. Do I use oil? I mean, it's a pneumatic shaker. It does have places you add oil, but it's a pneumatic shaker. That's all I can tell you on that. Yeah. Robert, luckily I have a steel supplier that has a showroom full of drops of everything. Steel, copper, aluminum, stainless, all by the pound. Yeah. I don't have anything close by. So the reality is, if I want pieces like that, I could go to hopefully find something at the local scrap place, waste 45 minutes trying to dig through junk to try to find it, or drive up into like the Atlanta area, waste a couple hours getting there. Lowe's is right up the street, $15. I'm done. So that's just where I went with it. Just an easier option for me. Blue Oval, what MIG welder manufacturer model do you use in your videos? Somebody asked me that earlier, and I use a Lincoln 140 with a T on the end of it. Lincoln 140T MIG welder. And I've had great success with it. It hasn't shown any signs of quitting. And I'll keep using it until it dies. And then who knows what will be next. I could be using one of the better brands from the Harbor Freight. I don't know yet. But right now, Lincoln 140T is what I use. Nick, I have a couple of rear seat mounts around here somewhere. If I can find them, you can have them. I'm doing something different and shouldn't need them. Well, maybe we can get together, Nick. Maybe we can get together. Let's see. 777 Smitty, early morning. Good night, all. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Oh, I'm glad you were here. Glad you were here. Let's see what else is going on. I mentioned the Mustang sheet metal. I'm trying to think if there's something else I wanted to bring up. I did mention that I stopped in at Jerry's house, and I have some video stuff that I want to make. Try to make a video, put that together. Oh, and if you haven't seen it, I know I've mentioned before, I do have the other channel, the Joe Daddy's Workshop, and I just put up a video today. It was kind of neat that there's a house going up close by, and I know the owner of the house or the property, and so we had talked about it several times where he was trying to do time-lapse video of the construction and stuff like that, and he messed up. He didn't have camera, or his timing was off and stuff wasn't working. So I asked him, I said, do you mind if I, make a video? And he said, sure. So I posted a video a few weeks ago, I guess, where they had put up the forms for the concrete walls of his basement. And of course they had the pumper truck come in and, pump into all these walls, fill them up, and the guys put the little straps on top and all that stuff. And since that time, they've cleaned it all off, got all the, forms down and different things. And there's been a bunch of dirt pushed around. So I've been trying to keep up with what's going on over there. Well, he texted me this morning and he said, hey, they're going to start pouring the slab for the basement, or the floor of the basement now. He said, if you want to do your time lapse, get over here. Okay. basically. So I was got my stuff together, went over there, and I filmed them setting up the pumper truck, the big giant pumper truck. Filmed some of the cement trucks coming in, and then I did a time lapse of them laying out the floor, smoothing it up and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. It's neat to see stuff like that. Even I know my grandson, he's been over here and they've been over there running I can't say dozer because technically I think it's a loader. From what I've been schooled on that, because a dozer just has a push blade, from my understanding, whereas a loader has a bucket that can go up and down. So that like the dozer can't go up and down it can just push and maybe blade go up and down a little bit, but dozer, loader, whatever you want to call it, has a bucket on it, that can move dirt and pick stuff up. So when my grandson comes to visit, he'll hear it running. He's 14 months old, and he says, tractor, tractor, tractor. I'm like, all right, let's go. So take him outside, and we'll sit outside and watch the loader pushing dirt around and digging stuff up. So anyway, I thought it'd be kind of cool for me to make this video because since he's not here, he can watch the video and see the equipment. I think he get a big kick out of it. So anyway, just some random information. Let's see. Brian W. The Vulcans are good welders at Harbor Freight. Yes. And that's what I have. Vulcan and Titanium, I think, are the two brands now that I think about it. I have the Vulcan TIG over there, but I have not, I've only used it a little bit experimenting. I'll do more with it at some point in life, but at this point I do have a Vulcan TIG welder. Blue Oval, I was looking at a HB MIG. They have too many models now. I like their multi-type MIG TIG model, but that's about $8.99. Yeah, I don't know that. I've heard people say to not get the multi-welders. It just leads to more problems, but I don't know for sure because I don't have one. I have a dedicated, well, I have two welders. I have the Lincoln 140T, and then I have a Lincoln Weld Pack 100, which is a flux core welder. And then I have behind that is the little TIG welder that I have. So I want to keep them separate. Like the Weld Pack 100, that's all. It'll only be a flux core. I'm not going to modify it. And I only have that because somebody basically gave it to me. I've used it for a variety of things. I think I did some, I don't know. I welded a variety of things with that. And it works. It does the job. Nandu says, Blue Oval, check Eastwood. They have a multi-welder, the MP series. Well, there you go. You can do that. Blue Oval says, yes, that's correct. Called a front loader. Yeah. Rick, he has an Eastwood 135. Works great for sheet metal. There you go. Brian W. says they call them track loaders. That works too. Because we had I guess that's technically what we had at my dad's junkyard. We would have had a track loader because it had a bucket, and it was a dozer with a bucket. That's all I know. But we also had, what do they call the big ones that they use in rock quarries, where it's got, it's a four-wheeled vehicle that pivots in the middle with a big bucket on it. That's a loader too, but I don't know what the term is. But you know what I mean? It's got a pivot in the center. Loader, quarries, coal mines, stuff like that. I don't know if there's is it just a wheeled loader then, Brian? Is that what that would be called? I don't know. Rascal's Garage, multifunction welders are just not worth the money. Yeah, I'm probably with you on that. It's funny when you talk about the pieces of equipment, you can say, skid steer and this, that, and dozer and tractor and blah, 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 blah. And I may have mentioned this before. Front end loader. DP says front end loader. Okay, that makes sense. Makes sense. I grew up in Pennsylvania, and basically I grew up in a coal mining community. And it's weird whenever you live somewhere and you move somewhere, how things become a different name, right? Bob says articulating loader. Okay. See, that's what I mean. You can call it different things, but you get the idea. Like I said, growing up in Pennsylvania, and we lived in a small coal mining town. There's lots of small coal mining towns. And what's unique in that is that where you lived was usually in relation to the coal mine. So, as an example, I had people that lived at number 4. You just say, where do you live? I live at number 4. I live at number 4, or in number 4, something like that. Number 3, number 4, number 7. And everybody in the town knew what you meant. Now, if somebody from outside the community came in and says, where do you live? Oh, I live over number 4. What's number 4? Well, it's number 4 mine, because they would have the mine and they would build houses in front of the mine that, the people would rent to own or whatever, the coal mine, how they operated. So anyway, you'd say, I live in number 4, I live in number 7, I live here, I live there. And that was normal. It's just a normal conversation. And also, I never called a dump truck a dump truck, because I didn't know that was the name. I called them coal trucks, because I never saw them haul anything but coal. Now, mind you, we had coal mines all over, and we would have coal trucks come to, the roads would be full of these trucks. I never saw one hauling dirt. I've always saw them hauling coal. So I always said coal truck. And even when I, went in the military and somebody said, oh, it's over there by that dump truck. And I was like, the what? You mean that coal truck? And they said, no, it's a dump truck. And I was like, I guess that makes sense. It is a dump truck. But it's still that, terminologies that sometimes don't cross over. So Robert says, I have the Titanium 170, very good for what it is, and way better than my old welder that I wore out. So there you go. There's a shout out for the Titanium model. DP, you guys and Yuns. Yins or Yuns. Yeah, definitely. Another weird thing in that subject is, I grew up in Pennsylvania, so we drank Pepsi. Just a thing. Not a lot of people drank Coke up there. Move to the South in Georgia, you got to drink Coke, right? But the thing is, in Georgia, you would say, what do you want? What kind of Coke do you want? What kind of Coke are you going to drink? Well, they weren't asking if you really wanted Coke. They were like, what do you want to drink? Like, do you want a Dr. Pepper? Do you want, it's just what kind of, they refer to soda in general as Coke. But what's weird about it is, maybe it's just where I grew up. I never had one person ever in my life refer to soda as pop. Ever. But I've talked to friends who grew up with me in that same area, and they're like, everybody said pop. I never heard anybody say pop. And if you do the demographics, when they show you like this part of the country says this, or this part of the country says this, apparently my part of the country supposedly said pop. Never ever heard that in my life. And just one of those things. Just like if you had a creek or a crick. No, it's a creek. It's a crick. Depends where you're from. I have a crick in my neck. Well, I have a crick in my backyard. Nick Moss, yeah, big truck, yeah. Brian W, 42 years in the business, Barry, still doing it. Wow, it's still a business, still hauling coal. People do it. Blue Oval, also always known as pop. Yeah, I can't say pop. It doesn't make sense to me. I understand soda pop or whatever, but it was always just soda to me. Always. But like I said, in the South, you say, if you had like a dispenser machine, that you could get different drinks, they would say, what kind of Coke do you want? I want Dr. Pepper. Okay, here you go. but it's always, what kind of Coke do you want? Clark, are you going with? Drives me nuts. Now, I'm not familiar with that one. Are you going with? You have to define that one a little bit better. Harvey, in Philadelphia, they call every SUV a Jeep. Yeah. Well, if you remember the movie Goonies, Steven Spielberg tried to get an acronym going for what is now known as the SRV. In that movie, they said ORV, off-road vehicle, and it didn't catch on. But that he was trying to get that as a term for those kind of vehicles because they were driving a Jeep at that time. In the movie, the bad people were driving a Cherokee or something, and the kids were all like, "It's ORV, ORV." They're in that ORV, and I'd never heard anybody say ORV in my life, but I think they were trying to get that as the term that later became SUV. So, Blue Oval. I'll even call it soda pop if I'm feeling wordy. Yeah. Nick Moss, a lot of guys around here call it sody. Okay. Rascal's Garage, the t-shirts run tight or loose? Need to stock up for the winter. That's a good question. This is a large. Pretty much all the shirts I wear are large. To give you some perspective, I'm 5'10", 200 pounds. So large. I think it fits pretty good. Nick Moss or Sody Pop. Yeah. They said it west of mid Pennsylvania. Oh, you're saying going with? Or are you going with? Gordon Cahoon in New England, we say driving a car. Yeah, I think it's CAH, right? Car. Clark, they don't finish the sentence. Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh, wow. Okay. Now that I have not heard. Warren Witten, are you going with me? Or are you going with? Okay. Yeah, I guess I haven't heard that expression. And like I said, it's different all over the country. There's, and that's what's, I think, interesting in some aspects that, I'm from Pennsylvania, even though I've lived in Georgia 34 years. And so I've had people comment about how I speak, or that it doesn't appear that I have much of a Southern accent. Now I probably do at some degree, or I could make up a Southern accent if I wanted to and just kind of fit in. But I've had people comment about that. You're like, you don't sound like you're from Georgia. But there's lots of transplants here from up north. And anyway, just an observation. So, all right. Still 50 people cruising along, but I'm going to end this. It is 9 o'clock. We're close to it. So I'm going to call it a night. Bob Shoemaker, okie dokie. Yeah. I'm going to call it a night. And get in the house and chill out a little bit. Maybe get some snacks or something. I don't know. But I think I'm not sure what I'm going to do for my next video. I'd like to work on those plates to block off the cowl. I'd also like to do some work on Jade. I need to do some research on those seat pieces, that are going to go in to the Brooklyn Pony. So there's still some things, obviously can be done, but I just haven't gotten that far yet. So anyway, Truck 1LT caught a run and missed half of the show. Have a good night, Barry. Well, thank you. Hope everybody else has a good night as well. DP, take care, Barry, and all. Yes. Andrew says good night, everyone. Derek Pro, stay well, buddy. Everyone, catch you next time. A bit earlier, hopefully. Yes, that would be awesome. Have some pop and relax. Good night, y'all. Y'all. Well, it's actually, there's not two A's. It's just Y''ALL. That's the official y'all. Warren saying football time. Yeah, don't think I'm going to watch any football. Just saying. But I want to thank everybody for being here and watching and, participating and putting in comments and conversations and questions and answers. That's all fantastic. And it makes it all worthwhile to do this. So have some wobbly pop and relax. That sounds like a plan. Yeah, maybe so, Jorge. Maybe so. Okay. Let's see. By all, first show I've watched, like the chatter. Good. I'm glad you're here. So I'll be back on Thursday at 3 p.m. We'll do this again. And it looks like maybe the idea of doing both streams didn't work out so well. So I think I'll just stick to doing this one because obviously a lot more people here and more beneficial, I think. And that's going to be it. So again, thanks for being here. And until next time, take care of yourselves. See ya.